Reconnecting. Oh, reconnecting. Interesting. Not sure where to go back to because I don't quite know where it kicked off. Let's pretend that it was here. So we are, for those who just dropped it back in because there was a connection issue, Hebrews chapter 11, verses 29 to chapter 12, verse 2. And we're going to start with 37. Actually, we're going to start with 36. Others suffered mocking and flogging and even chains and imprisonment. They were stoned to death. They were sawn in two. They were killed by the sword. They went about in skins of sheep and goats, destitute, persecuted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and mountains and in caves and in holes in the ground. Yet all these, though they were commended for their faith, did not receive what was promised, since God had provided them something better, so that they would not, apart from us, be made perfect. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus the pioneer and perfecter of faith, who, for the sake of the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God. I have thoughts. Luke chapter 12, verses 49 to 56. Jesus brings fire on earth. I have come to cast fire upon the earth, and how I wish it were already ablaze. I have a baptism with which to be baptized, and what constraint I am under until it is completed. Do you think that I have come to bring peace to the earth? No, I tell you, but rather division. From now on, 5 in one household will be divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. He also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud rising in the west, you immediately say, it's going to rain. And so it happens. And when you see the south wind blowing, you say, there will be scorching heat. And it happens. You hypocrites. You know how to interpret the appearance of earth and sky, but why do you not know how to interpret the present time? All right. The word of the Lord. Baller. That's a good one. All right. No. The usual issue. All right. As usual, we're going to do this thing where, for my purposes, I want to know what's happening in the psalm that we didn't read. And that should be the end of it. Now, hold on a moment, please. Come on. July 13th. So I want to see, because Psalm 25, the psalm sounded really familiar. I don't know if anybody else had that problem. Like, we've done Psalm 82 recently. Yeah. On July 13th. Yeah, so literally the last time I did this, we had Psalm 32. Or Psalm 82. I think that's weird. I think it's a little unusual for the psalm to cycle in that way during the season. Oh, but this is an option 1 and that was an option 2. All right. I'll allow it. Okay. I have thoughts, I think I said, on some parts of this, and we'll see how that goes. Bible Gateway. Have I really been? Yeah, no, I'm in the... Okay, good. Whoa. Thanks, Bible Gateway. And then, is there an ad that I can get rid of here? All right. I presume I must have. I think I zoomed this way in, and I think I like it better. I think it's good. All right. Bible Gateway. Isaiah 5, verses 1 to 7. I was saying earlier, Isaiah 5 is like, it's kind of a whatever passage. Isaiah 6 is the, like, in the year that King Uzziah died, and it's like classic. It's like part of my call narrative. What's up, Anasora? Thanks for joining us. All right. Nice to see you. Welcome aboard. Let me sing for my loved one a love song for his vineyard. Oh. Are you ready for the metaphor? Are you ready for the allegory? Are you ready for prophetic action? Here it comes. It's going all right. Having a good time reading the Bible. Let me sing for my loved one a love song for his vineyard. My loved one had a vineyard on a fertile hillside. He dug it, cleared away its stones, planted it with excellent vines, built a tower inside it, and dug out a wine vat in it. He expected it to grow good grapes, but it grew rotten grapes. Okay, so this was my first question was rotten grapes, because I know that there's another place where this happens. Very, very similar language where it says either sour grapes or bitter grapes. But like it grew rotten grapes. I am from, Anasora, to answer the question, I am from the Pacific Northwest originally, and I currently live out on the East Coast. Sort of the mid-Atlantic, as it were. Which is why this comes up, because it grew rotten grapes. And I had this whole moment for, I absolutely once preached this in the Pacific Northwest, and I talked about Oregon grapes, which are a specific shrub in the Northwest that produces really bitter grape fruit. You can make jam out of it, but it's sort of iffy. I don't mind at all, Anasora. I'm going to sort of keep moving while you frame question, but then I'm going to dive in. All right. He dug it, cleared away its stones, planted it with excellent vines. So I mentioned earlier, I was out in Europe for a couple weeks, thanks to my in-laws. I appreciate their gift of a trip with the family. And we just saw a ton of vineyards in France and Germany and even in Switzerland that were definitely on this like super rough hillside. And I was trying to imagine having to plow these vineyards the first time and not excited about it. And building towers. This is not like, they say this one guy did it. He dug it. He cleared away its stones, planted it with excellent vines, built a tower inside it, dug out a wine vat. That is not a single person labor. That is a lot of people over a lot of time, or one God. Aha! Anasora asks, I'm interested to looking for high quality artwork and reasonable prices. I've helped you. Thank you, Anasora. I appreciate the offer. I will let you know if there's anything that kicks up. Hello, Cos Supermod. I'm doing well, thank you. Interesting relative number of viewers and all sorts of stuff, but that's fine. All right. So, the Lord, and this is I'm going to ruin. I'm going to spoiler alert. This is the Lord who's doing the vineyard work. So, he does all this work, build a vineyard, wants it to grow grapes. It grew rotten grapes. So now, you who live in Jerusalem, you people of Judah, judge between me and my vineyard. Wait a minute. Whose vineyard? Let me sing a song for my loved one, a love song for his vineyard. My loved one had a vineyard on a fertile hillside. He did some stuff. He expected. You who live in Jerusalem, you people of Judah, judge between me and my vineyard. Change in person. Come on, Bible. Anasora, at this point, no, I'm not terribly interested. I will give it some thought and let you know. And then, of course, best viewers on streamboo.com remove the space. Thanks, Streamboo. The whole street, yeah, it's so cute. Uh, Judge between me and my vineyard. What more was there to do for my vineyard that I haven't done for it? When I expected it to grow good, what more was there to do for my vineyard that I haven't done for it? When I expected it to grow good grapes, why did it grow rotten grapes? Now, let me tell you what I'm doing to my vineyard. I'm removing its hedge, so it will be destroyed. I'm breaking down its walls, so it will be trampled. I'll turn it into a ruin. It won't be pruned or hoed, and thorns and thistles will grow up. I will command the clouds not to rain on it. The vineyard of the Lord of heavenly forces is the house of Israel, and the people of Judah are the plantings in which God delighted. God expected justice, but there was bloodshed, righteousness, but there was a cry of distress. What is the fruit that God demands of us, my friends? Is it shareholder earnings? Shareholder value? No. It is justice and righteousness. And when we fail to produce justice and righteousness, it does not necessarily go well for us from the Lord's perspective. Pretty good Isaiah passage. Got to track down that other one. Psalm 80, and of course I'm skipping over, just to reiterate, we had a passage 81-2 and 8-19. What are they cutting? We ask, as we always ask. What are they trying to hide from us? It's a conspiracy. Whoa. Sorry, a little bit of Chrome trouble. All right, Psalm 80. For the music leader, according to Lotus Blossoms, a testimony of Asaph, a psalm. Shepherd of Israel, listen. You, the one who leads Joseph as if he were a sheep, you who are enthroned upon the winged heavenly creatures, show yourself before Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh. Wake up your power. Come to save us. Restore us, God. Make your face shine so that we can be saved. Lord God of heavenly forces, how long will you fume against your people's prayer? You fed them bread made of tears. You've given them tears to drink 3 times over. You've put us at odds with our neighbors. Our enemies make fun of us. Restore us, God of heavenly forces. Make your face shine so that we can be saved. You brought a vine out of Egypt. You drove out the nations and planted it. You cleared the ground for it. Then it's planted its roots deep, filling the land. The mountains were covered by its shade. The mighty cedars were covered by its branches. It sent its branches all the way to the sea. Its shoots went all the way to the Euphrates River. So, why have you now torn down its walls so that all who come along can pluck its fruit, so that any boar from the forest can tear it up, so that the bugs can feed on it? Please come back. God of heavenly forces, look down from heaven and perceive it. Attend to this vine, this root that you planted with your strong hand, this son whom you secured as your very own. It is burned with fire, it is chopped down. They die at the rebuke coming from you. Let your hand be with the one on your right side, with the one whom you secured as your own. Then we will not turn away from you. Revive us so that we can call on your name. Restore us, Lord of heavenly forces. Make your face shine so that we can be saved. Let's see here. Good. There really wasn't a lot of there. There was not a lot of, like, oh, what's this doing here? Restore us, God, make your face shine. Which actually, I missed this in what the Revised Common Lectionary had, because it presages that coming up again. How long will you fume against your people's prayer? You've fed them bread made of tears. You've given them tears to drink 3 times over. Put us at odds with our neighbors. Our enemies make fun of us. Restore. Yeah, okay. So it shows up a total of 3 times. You brought a vine. So my read here at a first pass was that this man, I really hope I have not screwed up my keyboard forever. All right. How about that? All right. How about plant? You guys can't see the fun I'm having over here. We'll call it this one. All right. So far, I got to increase the text size on this. It is not big enough in this one. Should be 18. All right. At any rate, for the moment, let us say, let us allow for now, that Isaiah 5 verses 1 through 7 is plant themed. Psalm 80 verses 1 to 19 also plant themed. So that is and vine themed specifically, and there's a whole thing about vines and grapes and that whole stream of content. All right, so that's that. Jeremiah. The Lord declares. So Jeremiah 23 to 29. The Lord declares, "Am I a God who is only nearby and not far off? Can people hide themselves in secret places so I might not see them? Don't I fill heaven and earth? I have heard the prophets prophesying lies in my name. They claim, 'I've had a dream. I've had a dream.' How long will deceitful prophecies dominate the minds of the prophets? Those prophets are treacherous. They scheme to make my people forget me by their dreams that people tell each other, just as their ancestors forgot me because of Baal. Let the prophet who has a dream declare it, but let the one who has my word proclaim it faithfully. What a difference between straw and wheat, declares the Lord. Isn't my word like fire and like a hammer that shatters rock, declares the Lord?" Yes. Yes, boss. Your word is like fire and a hammer that shatters rock. This is fun for me because my son is absolutely in a phase of trying to figure out near and far. Only he's got far fairly solid, but near also sounds like the sound that cars make where they go meow, and so that's kind of what it sounds like when he says near. Am I a God who's only nearby and not far off? Interesting framing. Can people hide themselves in secret places so I might not see them? Don't I fill heaven and earth? I think God's saying he's chonky. I think God is saying that he is substantial in terms of volume and mass. That's what I read right here. I have heard the prophets prophesying lies in my name. They claim, "I've had a dream. I've had a dream." I wonder, it's probably possible to tell, although always a little shaky for me in Hebrew. I have dreamed. All right. I wonder if sort of deliberately translators have avoided "I have a dream" as a gloss there, because it is not unhelpful. Those prophets are treacherous. They scheme to make my people forget me by their dreams that people tell each other, just as their ancestors forgot me because of Baal. I like let the prophet who has a dream declare it, but let the one who has my word proclaim it faithfully. What a difference between straw and wheat, declares the Lord. All right, friends, those of us not from an agricultural society, what is the difference between straw and wheat? Straw is fed to cattle or used as insulation, has other uses, but it is not edible. It is not something nutritious for the human being, whereas wheat is. That's the difference. So, our false prophets are offering us straw. They're offering us filler. One might go so far as to say that they are offering us slop, whereas the true prophet offers nutritious wheat that fills us and helps us grow. Isn't my word like fire and like a hammer that shatters rock, declares the Lord. So, there's a lot going on here, but I will say that one of the things that showed up here is violence, and the other one was dreaming. All right. And then Psalm 82, again, reprise. Psalm 82. God takes his stand in the divine council. He gives judgment among the gods. How long will you judge unjustly by granting favor to the wicked? Selah. Give justice to the lowly and the orphan. Maintain the right of the poor and the destitute. Rescue the lowly and the needy. Deliver them from the power of the wicked. They don't know. They don't understand. They wander around in the dark. All the earth's foundations shake. I hereby declare you are God's children of the Most High, all of you, but you will die like mortals. You will fall down like any prince. Rise up, God. Judge the earth because you hold all nations in your possession. Close some stuff down so that I don't get lost. All right, and you too. There was some violence and also some justice here. Oh, hey, yeah. Ooh, can I? Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Oh, that's sweet. I have figured out using tab selection how to more efficiently add my emoji. This is like, this will preach. This is fine. It's just like, oh, we just did this. I just did this. We talked about polylatry. Rise up, God, judge the earth because you hold all nations in your possession. We talked about rescue the lowly and the needy. We've covered this ground. Yeah. So if you need more on this, the July 13th edition. All right. Hebrews 11:29 through 12:2. And I need this to start earlier. Let's take it back to like 15 and see what happens. I'm very fancy. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm very fancy, and I did that just by editing the URL because the way that Bible Gateway does its searching is through completely human readable URLs, which seems a little silly, but hey, it makes my life easier. All right. By faith, Abraham offered Isaac. By faith, Isaac. By faith, Jacob. By faith, Joseph. By faith, Moses. By faith, Moses. By faith, he left Egypt. By faith, he kept. By faith. Okay, so. This is another one that gets another complete reading because it's there's a lot. There's a lot in this one, and I think I'm going to use it. By faith, they crossed the Red Sea as if they were on dry land, but when the Egyptians tried it, they were drowned. By faith, Jericho's walls fell after the people marched around them for 7 days. By faith, Rahab the prostitute wasn't killed with the disobedient because she welcomed the spies in peace. What more can I say? I would run out of time if I told you about Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets. Through faith, they conquered kingdoms, brought about justice, realized promises, shut the mouths of lions, put out raging fires, escaped from the edge of the sword, found strength in weakness, were mighty in war, and routed foreign armies. Women received back their dead by resurrection. Others were tortured and refused to be released so that they could gain a better resurrection. But others experienced public shame by being taunted and whipped. They were even put in chains and in prison. They were stoned to death. They were cut in two, and they died by being murdered with swords. They went around wearing the skins of sheep and goats, needy, oppressed, and mistreated. The world didn't deserve them. They wandered around in deserts, mountains, caves, and holes in the ground. All these people didn't receive what was promised. Though they were given approval for their faith, God provided something better for us so that they wouldn't be made perfect without us. So then, with endurance, let's also run the race that is laid out in front of us. Since we have such a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let's throw off any extra baggage, get rid of the sin that trips us up, and fix our eyes on Jesus, faith's pioneer and perfecter. He endured the cross, ignoring the shame, for the sake of the joy that was laid out in front of him, and sat down at the right side of God's throne. Word of the Lord. See, I don't need to. I have my emojis right here. I'm going to say sword, and I'm going to say not paint. How about hurt? Yeah. And I'm going to say yeah, faith is a hard one. How do you put faith in an emoji? How would you do it? How would you put faith? What emoji would you use for faith? All right, back to it. This is great. This is a great passage. So jumping back, what we have here is Paul. So this is Paul's letter to the Hebrews. So there isn't. In some ways, it would make more sense if this was called the book of, I don't know, Jerusalem or something. But this is Paul's letter to his contemporaries and kindred in ethnicity and faith, those who are also Jewish, about why Jesus is dope, and trying to tell them, hey, Jesus. And as far as I know, those who do ministry to Jewish folks like in Israel, and those Messianic Jews who do live in Israel, like Hebrews is a super important book for them, because even to this day, it is a bridge for that transition. So these are all stories. All of these are stories with which presumably a Hebrew audience would be very familiar. And so he's talking about how all these things, Paul is talking about how all of these things are done through faith. And by faith, they crossed the Red Sea as if they were on dry land, but when the Egyptians tried it, they were drowned. So I was just listening to my wife listen to a YouTube short about Diogenes, who was a Cynic philosopher, that is a dog-like philosopher. And they didn't mention like the most famous thing about Diogenes, which is that he traveled around the marketplace holding a lamp looking for an honest man. And when I said all of those words, Diogenes with a lamp looking for an honest man, you almost certainly got an image of a guy in something like a toga shoving a lantern in people's faces. That is to say, a sort of cage of metal with a glass around it and a light in the center. My friends, the lantern was not invented for something like 1,000 years after Diogenes' death. Long time. When they say a lamp, the image that you should have, if you can, is an Aladdin lamp, or like the lamp of knowledge for National Honor Society, right? Like, you know, the lamp that I'm talking about. It's like that. I bring this up because the images that we get when we talk about some of the things in the Bible are really, really messed up by some artistic portrayals, frequently from the 1300s, 1400s in Europe. So when we say, by faith they crossed the Red Sea as if they were on dry land, but when the Egyptians tried it, they were drowned. What it sounds like Paul is talking about is that all of the Israelites walked on water, and then when the Egyptians attempted to follow them, they just fell in the water and died. Which is not the image that most of us have predominantly about that scene from Exodus. Which is fascinating, right? Like, isn't that interesting? I think that's interesting. By faith, Jericho's walls fell after the people marched around them for 7 days. I remember reading Joshua as a child, and this was what got me into the Bible, was this particular story of like this guy marched around and there were trumpets and it was all very exciting. And then at a certain point, the walls fell. And this was a demonstration of God's power and of the faith of Joshua and of the Israelites. And it was really cool. And I am slightly ashamed of it now because Joshua is a book about genocide. Make no mistake, that is a book about genocide. And indeed, same again, we're still with Joshua. By faith, Rahab the prostitute wasn't killed with the disobedient because she welcomed the spies and peace. There's a lot going on there. I hope that shows up in the lectionary at some point so I can talk about it. But there's just a lot more going on here. What more can I say? I would run out of time if I told you about Gideon, Barak, Samson, Jephthah, David, Samuel, and the prophets. These are not necessarily people that you want to emulate. These are not good moral models in the Bible, my friends. Gideon, Jephthah, no. Samson, David, questionable. Samuel, And then you get this passage. And this is the one that I don't know that I've read this for a while with quite so much zip as I did this time. Through faith, they conquered kingdoms, brought about justice, realized promises, shut the mouths of lions. This is thrilling stuff, right? This is CBS primetime. Put out raging fires, escaped from the edge of the sword, found strength in weakness, were mighty in war, and routed foreign armies. Women received back their dead by resurrection. Others were tortured and refused to be released so that they could gain a better resurrection. Other women? Other people. But others experienced public shame by being taunted and whipped. They were even put in chains and in prison. They were stoned to death. They were cut in two, and they died by being murdered with swords. They went around wearing the skins of sheep and goats. Okay. Paul, my bro, you studied rhetoric. It is pretty obvious that you know how to construct an argument and that you know how to sort of scale things up. You studied the trivium. You know a little bit about rhetoric. Others experienced public shame by being taunted and whipped. Some were even put in chains in prison. They were stoned to death. They were cut in two. They died by being murdered with swords. They went around wearing the skins of sheep and goats. Whoa. The register just dropped there, Paul. Wearing the sheep and the goat is worse even than death. I have to assume that there really should be like a paragraph break here. The world didn't deserve it. Yeah, this is... So, Paul, if as an editor, I might offer some advice. If I can offer you some advice, Apostle Paul, Saint Paul, you might want to consider moving this sentence, they went around wearing the skin of sheep and goats, I would say put it here. Yeah. But others experienced public shame by being taunted and whipped. They went around wearing the skins of sheep and goats, needy, oppressed, and mistreated. They were even put in chains and in prison. They were stoned to death. They were cut in two, and they died by being murdered with swords. That is a complete thought with a contiguous elevation, escalation of suffering. The sheep and goat skins here just... I don't want to be a focus group. And Paul, it's your letter. You do you. The world didn't deserve them. They wandered around in deserts, mountains, caves, and holes in the ground. Paul, what's the difference between caves and holes in the ground? Please elucidate. Little gopher prophets. All these people didn't receive what was promised, though they were given approval for their faith. God provided something better for us, so they wouldn't be made perfect without us. What? And this is the moment that I'm like, I want a commentary for some thoughts on this, because this doesn't line up. God provided something better for us so they wouldn't be made perfect without us. So then, with endurance, let's also run the race that is laid out in front of us, since we have such a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us. Let's throw off any extra baggage, get rid of the sin that trips us up, and fix our eyes on Jesus. Faith's pioneer and perfecter, he endured the cross, ignoring the shame, for the sake of the joy that was laid out in front of him, and sat down at the right hand of God's throne. Boy, this makes Jesus sound weirdly selfish. He endured the cross, ignoring the shame, for the sake of the joy that was laid out in front of him. Like, oh, if I just endure this, I'll be super happy at the other end. Which might indeed be what Paul was thinking. It just doesn't zing me. And there was another... between the right of the poor and destitute. Let your hand be with the one on your right side, the one whom you secure as your own. Then we will not turn away from you. Yeah. The metaphors get a little bit mixed here. You brought a vine out of Egypt. You drove out the nations. You did all this stuff where the cedars were covered. It shoots. Why have you torn down its walls? The vine of the walls. Please come back, God of heavenly forces. Look down from heaven and perceive it. Attend to this vine, this root that you planted with your strong hand, this son whom you secured as your very own. It is burned with fire. This one, Bad Nintendo, is the Common English Bible. And I am happy to chat and answer because I have thought significantly about why I'm using which readings I'm using. CEB, the Common English Bible. The most common thing that is now going to happen, and I'm super happy. Yeah. It does. With the Common English Bible, a lot of it sounds weird because it isn't the King James or the New King James, which a lot of us grew up with. It is intended to be slightly more accessible, is the real goal here. So it shoots for not the simplest, but the sort of clearest reading. But it from time to time, it sounds very different from what we're accustomed to. So it's burned down with fire. They die. It is burned down with fire. It is chopped down. They die at the rebuke coming from you. Let your hand be with the one on your right side, who you could do a reading that says that is Jesus, because Jesus sat down at the right side of God's throne. So have fun with that. Luke 12, verses 49 to 56. And yeah, this is another one where I'm actually going to, and we're going to take it from, say, Luke 30. Luke 12, verse 30, because I need a little bit more context on what Jesus is up to here. By the way, thanks for chatting, Bad Nintendo. Thanks for asking the question. It's always helpful to be able to answer. And I have a lot more on why exactly I'm using the Common English as opposed to any of the others, or in addition, really, to any of the others. Because on an average day, I'm going to do all three. I'll do the Revised Common Lectionary, which is, I think, NRSV. And then I'll do the Common English. And then I will do the King James, because the thing that I use to do the King James, or use to do the Greek, does the King James as well. And I find that there's a whole thing about accuracy versus precision. And I think that when we're trying to get at what God is saying, it is to our benefit to come from as many directions as are available to us. Because sometimes sometimes the Bible can be a lot. All right. All the nations of the world long for. Okay. So Jesus is obviously, and I think this is his long in Luke 12-ish. He's got a long sermon. Your Father knows that you need them. Instead, desire his kingdom. These things will be given to you as well. Don't be afraid, little flock, because your Father delights in giving you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to those in need. Make for yourselves wallets that don't wear out, a treasure in heaven that never runs out. No thief comes near there, and no moth destroys. Interesting. What site, what tool are you using? I'm curious, because I know which one I'm using, and I've had trouble with it lately. All right. Make for yourselves wallets that don't wear out, treasure in heaven that never runs out. Bad Nintendo, we are going to be friends. Thank you for joining me today. That's awesome. You're my hero. Is it on GitHub? Is it on itch.io? Where am I looking for this tool? Because please publish this. This sounds amazing. Yeah. All right. Whew. I saw this verse coming up. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Be dressed for service. Keep your lamps lit. Be like people waiting for their master to come home. Yes, I absolutely will. Drop me the link, and I will take a look. Happy are those servants, and I not only will I take a look, I will also publish and broadcast because hey, I love a good tool. Happy are those servants whom the master finds waiting up when he arrives. I assure you that when he arrives, he will dress himself to serve. Seat them. The homeowner known what time it is. All right. Okay, so this is the thing. So Jesus has been sermonizing for a while. And then Peter says, Lord, are you telling this parable for us or for everyone? And the Lord replied, who are the faithful and wise managers whom the master will put in charge of his household servants to give them their food at the proper time? Happy are the servants whom the master finds fulfilling their responsibilities when he comes. I assure you that the master will put them in charge of all of his possessions. I'm sorry. But suppose that these servants should say to themselves, my master is taking his time about coming. And suppose they began to beat the servants, both men and women, and to eat, drink, and get drunk. The master of those servants would come on a day when they weren't expecting him, at a time they couldn't predict. The master will cut them into pieces and assign them a place with the unfaithful. The servant who knew his master's will but didn't prepare for it or act on it will be beaten severely. The one who didn't know the master's will but who did things deserving punishment will be beaten only a little. Much will be demanded from everyone who's been given much, and from the one who has been entrusted with much, even more will be asked. I came to cast fire upon the earth. How I wish that it was already ablaze. I have a baptism I must experience. How I am distressed until it's completed. Do you think that I have come to bring peace to the earth? No, I tell you, I have come instead to bring division. From now on, a household of 5 will be divided, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. Father will square off against son and son against father, mother against daughter and daughter against mother, and mother-in-law against daughter-in-law and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. Jesus also said to the crowds, when you see a cloud forming in the west, you immediately say, it's going to rain. And indeed, it does. And when a south wind blows, you say, a heat wave is coming. And it does. Hypocrites. You know how You know how to interpret conditions on earth and in the sky. How is it that you don't know how to interpret the present time? All right. So, in this case, and now we're back to So, I think I said earlier when we were looking at the full thing, in this case, if I were preaching, I sometimes, and I think I'm going to start doing this consistently because I actually really like this format. I try to look for themes that are consistent throughout, things that come up multiple times that I can like draw a through line that makes it a lot easier to do a sermon. In this case, the through line that really showed up this time was violence. That the Jeremiah and the Psalm and the Hebrews and the Luke all have this violence theme running through them. And I'm almost certain to land on, again, if I were preaching, I'm almost certain to land on do you think that I've come to bring peace to the earth? No, I tell you, I've come instead to bring division. Now, the NRSV here had also rather division. But this means that until I get Bad Nintendo's tool, that I'm very excited to hear more about, I'm stuck with Blue Letter Bible, which I love. And it's been nice. It is nice, actually, now that we're back, that it is working again, because it was kind of jacked up for a while there. All right. Luke chapter 12, verse 49. And then we do tools. And then we do... All right. So yeah, those anybody who is not interested in a deep dive in the Greek, what's wrong with you? But I am so sorry. We're now moving into the phase of our show where I am deep diving into the Greek. Uh, yeah. Can you imagine being the person who has to sit there and figure out how to put the Bible into JSON? And even today, something that I don't think I've ever seen happen before in the Revised Common Lectionary. Yeah, AD15 is just not in the paragraph, which says that I think that I don't know anything about the back end of Vandy's lectionary, but I would be surprised if they're not using JSON to some extent. But yeah, Bad Nintendo. I don't know how we're going to keep communicating because I don't think Twitch does DMs. But you can find me on Blue Sky. You can find me on, of course, Coffee, ko-fi.com, and hit me up there. But I'm interested in your project and would like to hear more. All right. Look down from him and see, have regard, the stock that your right hand plan. Okay. But King James 12. We're now into the Greek bit. Please enjoy. Pureth Elthon, I am come fire balein to send. Oh, whoa. No. Awesome. Thanks, Bad Nintendo. Fire I have come to throw. This is not. Yeah, have fun saying this means to send, but no, I don't want that. I want Balo Strong's a primary word, yeah. To throw. More or less violent or intense, to arise, to cast out. Dung. So, do you think that I am come for peace? No, I'm come to throw fire. All right, I got you, Lord. I am come to throw fire on the earth, and what I will, if, oh, how? Yeah, they're saying what here, but really it's how. And how I wish, how I would that it were already ablaze. Anephthe. Oh, blue letter. Are you giving me trouble now? No, it's Chrome's been wacky all day today. I'm getting these little hiccups. All right, anopto. It be kindled. All right, what does anopto say? From ana and up, and hopto, which is to light, to kindle, which I just don't remember. Ana and hopto. And it's interesting, the ana there, which usually means back or again. Strong's info. A primary verb probably to fasten, to, for example, specially to set on fire, to kindle, to light. Interesting. All right, and now we're going to do that thing that I've been doing lately. Google the whole word, and it takes you to the Lectionary, and we get to dive one layer deeper into it because I'm a nerd. With wonderful load times, too. Proto-Hellenic, Hopto of unclear origin, there are a number of competing theories. Yapto descend to drive forth. Progressive aspect marker. All right. So basically we don't know, but it is to kindle, to set on fire, to fasten fire to. Okay. Then there is a valid reading that would be something like, I have come to throw fire onto the earth, and how I wish that it was already fastened, that it had already landed. And definitely, possibly because on the plane just recently, I just watched the Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm definitely thinking of Jesus having found a fire flower, just hucking fireballs onto the earth and wishing that they had already landed. Have fun with that image. Actually, and this is my, like, if Anasora, if you're still on, maybe if I can do a commission of please give me Jesus in his fire flower form. But, and wait a minute, but I have a baptism. Okay, I have a baptism with which to be baptized. And how, again, Sonechomai, I am straightened. How I am held together until from the road Haas. Until it be accomplished. Yeah. Until it's completed. But it's the same. It's interestingly parallel. I have a baptism, and then Sunechomai should almost certainly be from Echo. Yeah. So it's like to hold together. I said to hold together, to compress. Oh, how I am under pressure, pushing down on me. Nope. Okay. No copyright strikes. Help me out, bad Nintendo. I have a baptism. I have in my hands a baptism with which to be baptized, and how I am held together until it is telestai is really accomplished, completed. I like that read. All right. Suppose ye. Okay. So this is the money. This is the important one. Dokete, do you think? Do I have a church? That's an interesting one, Gazuza Corleone. If you're here and you're listening, it could be said that you are my congregation. I don't currently have a pulpit. I'm actually literally working on what it would mean to build an entirely remote congregation for a variety of reasons. But this is what I'm doing right now. But I am an ordained pastor in the Presbyterian Church USA. Happy to help with that one. Why not both? Do you Dokete, do you consider that I have that peace part of Gomenen, that I'm come alongside to give peace onto the earth? No. I tell y'all, but rather Diamarismon. Yeah, that all makes sense. Right up until Diamarismon, which I don't know well enough to. From disunion of opinion and conduct. So it's from Diaramidzo. Thanks, Strongs. Yeah, Meridzo is the one that I actually want. Meridzo is to part, literally to apportion, bestow, share, or figuratively to disunite, to differ, to differentiate. Yeah, to divide. I'll take it. Merizo. All right, so do you suppose that I have come to give peace onto the earth? No, I tell y'all, and it's weird, but like I see what they're doing, but rather disjunctive particle. Okay, but rather distinction, division. Esontai 4 from now, from the now, there will be 5 in one house, in 5 in a house, 5 in one house in any oiko, divided 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. Straightforward. And I think a lot of this next bit will be straightforward. I didn't say this earlier when I was doing my thing. They shall be divided. The father shall be divided from the son, and the son from the father, the mother from the daughter, and the daughter from the mother. Penthera, the mother-in-law from the nymphain, from the daughter-in-law, from her daughter-in-law, and the nymphae, the daughter-in-law from the mother-in-law of her. Does anyone else think it's weird that Luke calls out here father and son, mother and daughter, and then mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, which is like one of the most fundamentally divisive roles already? Maybe that's me reading our society into this, because now that I'm thinking about it, the way that households would have worked in this time, everybody goes to the man's household, and so your mother-in-law, as a man, your mother, your wife's mother-in-law, probably still lives with you. All right, I'll take that. I don't know that I'm going to have a lot more here. I think the Greek is going to be pretty straightforward. And he said, so, and this is one of those things where when you have these disjunctions like this, it's very plausible that these were different passages that Luke sort of stitches together, but all on a theme. And he said also to the crowd, whenever y'all see the Nephele in the cloud on a Telusan, rising from Dismon, from the west, right away, you say, a shower comes, and lo, so it proves. And in that way it is. Yeah. And whenever the south wind blows, you say that a kauson, a hot wind, not even that, heat will be, and so it proves. You hypocrites. Oh, wrong button. Hypocritai. You hypocrites. The face of the earth and of the heavens you see. You are able to discern the time. How can you not discern this time? How is it that you cannot discern this time? All right. Not bad. Hey, it is about 10-15 minutes after the hour. And we did a whole Latin and a whole Greek, or not a whole Latin, but we did a whole passage and a whole Greek. I think in a time of great violence, I think in a time when there's a lot of violence in our nation and in our world, I think it is interesting to encounter exactly how God and the authors of the Bible speak about violence, what its purposes are, what it responds to, how it touches our lives. And both the recipients of violence and also the creators of violence. Violence is not ignored by Jesus. It's not like violence was not a part of his life. It's not like he didn't die by force. So I think there's something really interesting for us as people living in our society about what Christ's peace and our call to be peacemakers means. And I think that's where I would go if I were preaching at a pulpit that I don't have. Have fun with that. But yeah, that's where I would head. And talk about violence and talk about peace. And where Jesus fits into all of the above. Cool. Very good. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, Bad Nintendo. Thanks, Gazuza. Thanks, Anasora. Thanks full-time and no, not full-time incinerator. I'm not thanking you, but Koss Supermod. A whole bunch of chatters today. It was great. And a whole bunch of new chatters. Thank you. You can give me a coffee if you like. ko-fi.com /ADHD_preacher. You can follow me on YouTube. Please follow me on YouTube. I'm going to put this sermon prep up almost immediately. And trying to think if there's anything else I want to say at this time. No, stay tuned. I might try and go back. I missed a bunch of weeks. I might try and go back and fill those in. And also, I'm going to be preaching in Meat Space 31st of August at Trinity Presbyterian Church of Berwyn, PA. And I will drop links for that possibly in Twitch, but absolutely on Blue Sky and on YouTube if you follow me there. God bless. Everybody, thank you so much. God bless. Good vibes. We'll see you next time.